Hello, everyone. Thank you once again for joining me on this episode of my series on AI and LLM security. Now, on this episode, I want to look into how OWASP top 10 security project have been able to produce a documentation and a framework that will help us to deal with security concerns within the three layers of AI. And I titled this the complete security surface for modern AI application. The three surface layer of AI, like I said, is one, LLM, two, agentic, then three, MCP. I have had a complete series of video, on MCP top 10. This is not a series on maybe LLM top 10 or agentic top 10, no. But I'm bringing the three frameworks together, and I want to expatiate on how we can apply them to our AI applications and workload. But before I move forward, there's something I just want to put out here. OWASP's own 2026 LLM top 10 explicitly draw that the LLM top 10 covers risk when the model is a component inside your application. That is OWASP top 10 for LLM applications. While the agentic top 10 covers risk when the model becomes an actor. With tools, it can invoke memory, it carries between sessions and consequences that can sit or set in motion downstream. Now that is OWASP top 10 for agentic application. Yes, take note of that. Now, and the two are explicitly designed as complementary, not overlapping. So top 10 for LLM application and top 10 for agentic applications are explicitly designed not to overlap, but to complement each other. The MCP top 10 is a separate and actively evolving OWASP project covering the protocol layer between the two of them. So if you read me correctly, the point I'm trying to make here is to tell you that for every modern AI workload or application, there are three layers to that, especially security layers or considerations to that. One is at the LLM layer. Two is at the agentic layer. Three is at the MCP layer. Okay, so let me get into it. Now let's look at the idea, the model, three different security surfaces. The layer boundary is OWASP's own framing, not an invented split. Because there are boundaries between layer 1, layer 2, and layer 3. And whenever security is crossing boundaries, then there are risk factors that are involved. So the LLM top 10 covers risk when the model is a component inside your application, like I said earlier. The agentic top 10 covers risk when the model now becomes an actor, like an agent. With tools, it can invoke memory, it carries between sections, and consequences that it can pass downstream. A third project, the MCP top 10, covers protocol layer that connect the two together, that allow communication between LLM and agentic connection. So that is that. So let's look at the scope. The three layers at glance, you see the model layer, testing, LLM, test out. LLM applications is stateless test generator that takes in input and produce output. That is that for that layer. Execution layer is the agentic layer. It can plan, it can allocate memory and orchestrate. So agentic application, autonomous AI can plan, hold session memory, and orchestrate workflow. Then we look at the connection layer, which is the MCP layer. Tools discovery can help you to discover your tools, data passing, and API invocation. So these are the three layers, and these are the things that they do, yes. Or maybe, let me say, things that are very, very important to them. So let's look at layer 1, that is the model layer. OWASP top 10 for LLM applications checked for the first time, against 7,714 real incidents, alongside practitioner vote. So that is the way, the organization comes about these 10 items. Okay. So we have LLM 01 to LLM 010. Within that, we have prompt injection, information disclosure, excessive agency, supply chain, embedding risk, output handling. I am not here to come and reel out, what the top 10 is. Most of us, we are very familiar with it. But the point I'm trying to make is that these are the risks identified. Treat the model as a component. Test in, test out, excessive agency, and unbounded consumption. Now cross-reference the agentic 10. That shows that particular two risk, excessive agency and unbounded consumption, is something that also cut across not just for the LLM, but also in the agentic workflow itself. So let's move down to the layer 2, which is execution layer, where the agents, are kind of sitting. So OWASP top 10 for agentic application is kind of codenamed as ASI. So you can see ASI 01 to ASI 05 to 07 to ASI 10. We have gold hijacking, we have tool misuse, privilege abuse, supply chain. and we have agent comms, memory poison, and we have trust, exploitation, rogue, agents. You have them. Now, every entry has a named incident, like Echo Leak, ASI01, the Amazon Q exploit, ASI02, the Replit meltdown, AS. These are this breach incident we've had in AI, landscape in a couple of years. And all these ones, they can be traced back to some of the risk identified by the OWASP top 10 before now. So then let's look at the layer 3, OWASP MCP top 10. We have the token exposure, MCP01 to poisoning, to command injection, to shadow servers, no audit trace, weak authentication, intent subversions. These are the risk identified also in the MCP layer, which is the connection layer. Now, why do all these things important? They are important because I'm kind of showing to us where the risk lies, the boundaries. So, and what are those things that best practices and framework has determined that we can use to begin to fortify our system and our workflows? I'm exposing us to that. So then let's look at how the layers connect. Okay, one incident can trip all three lists at once. Threat modeling, one layer in isolation misses the chain. So if you look at chain, you have MCP03, you have that is 2 poisoning, you have ASI02, that is 2 misuse, you have LLM, 08. You can see that all of these has to do with tools. A poisoned MCP tools description get an agent to leak a credential through hidden context, exposure. So if you look at it, when a tool is misused or poisoned, it cut across that eye. So connection layer, MCP03, execution layer, ASI02, model layer, LLM03, hidden context exposure. One chain, 3 layers, 3 top 10 things. So when this is to show us how dangerous this could be if we don't have a robust security, guardrails and systems around that. The 2026 LLM top 10 ships a version pinned appendix mapping all 10 entries to 9 external frameworks like MITRE Atlas, MITRE Atlas, CVE, NIST AI 601, NIST AI RMF, OWASP Agentic top 10, all those things. So let's look at comparison of these frameworks, component versus actor versus connection fabrics. So if you look at layer 1, we have LLM top 10. Layer 2, we have Agentic top 10. Layer 3, we have MCP top 10. So now let's look at component, test, image, or parameter deception, mitigate with input, sanitation, context filtering, guardrails. So now if you look at this risk factor here, that is LLM, that is top LLM top 10. If you look at the component is text, the image or everything, that it generates or it's used as an input. So what you do is to make sure that you do input sanitation, content filtering, and guardrail, because test is very important to the LLM because it's a test in, test out. Then when you go to the agentic top 10, the most important thing here is the actor. Autonomous execution and privilege misuse is predominant here because it can act. Excessive, privilege could be a problem. So mitigate with least agency scoping, human in the loop step. You can see that now. Then the third one is connection fabrics, protocol injection, and token leakage. Mitigate with 2, allow list, RBAC, short-lived tokens. So if you look at it, this is like this is like capture at every layer what is more important and what is the very attack surface that needs to be dealt with, that needs to be considered first. So status as of August 2026, LLM top 10 and Agentic top 10 are stable published editions, but MCP top 10 is still in beta. And as of today, now that we have a new MCP protocol being published by Anthropic, maybe now OWASP can do a final review and bring a more stable version of the MCP top 10. Okay, so if you take one idea from this video, the idea should be threat model, one layer at a time. Then trace the chain. Yes. So threat model one layer at a time. If you want to threat model like your LLM, threat model it. Do that separately from your agentic and do that separately from your MCP. So model layer equals component risk. Execution layer equals actor risk. Then connection layer equals protocol risk. That is the simplest mental model I can give it. Then a single incident can trip all 3 lists at once. Don't treat model in isolation. So MCP top 10 is still beta, like I said, Full reference sources and some information can be found at the comment section. So this is the end of this video, and I hope you have something to pick from this. This video is dedicated to OWASP Top 10 for AI landscape or AI workload. It's examining the 3 layers of AI or modern AI application, the LLM, the agentic, and the connection layer, which is MCP, and tells you some of the things you need to put into consideration while dealing with trust boundaries across these surfaces. So thank you, and see you on the next one.